360 Giving is about helping grant makers make better grants. No grant is an island entire of itself. It's always made in the context of other people's grant funding to an organisation in the vast majority of cases. And when Fran and I, the trustees of Indigo Trust, wanted to move into a new grant-making area, we realised that we had no information at all about who else was active in it. We were faced the prospect of a couple of years of going to conferences, meeting people, having coffee, forming a donors collaborative or a funders collective, and then having exploratory chats. Well, I'm funding this organisation. Are you funding them as well? Can you tell me a bit about what they're like? How did that grant go? And so those conversations, which are very valuable, were being made from the basis of complete ignorance. It was guesswork. And so what we are helping grant makers do is publish as a simple spreadsheet on their website the grants they've made over the past year or over the past decade in some cases, to a standard data format, so that we can just copy that information and compare it with the grant list from another organisation and say, where are the overlaps, where are the areas of mutual interest, who is being funded multiply, who should we talk to when we want to make grants in a new subject area or want to make grants to a new organisation. And it's hugely valuable as well for grantees because they can easily search for who else is making grants in topics of interest to them.
And which grant makers have you got in there?
At the moment, we've got about, we've got about 14 publishing to the 360 standard. That is people who are actually putting their data out on the web in this specialized data format. But we've also seized data from about another 15 or 20 who publish their stuff as spreadsheets or who have given us their data in response to FOI requests. And so we've got, I can't remember, I think it's well over £10 billion worth of grants over the last 20 years, provide a very, very rich picture of a slice of grant making in the UK. And we've even got six trusts, who we shall announce very shortly, who are actually publishing their grants in real time. So the moment they enter a grant into their internal database, it appears live on the web. And we've just launched, when you start publishing open data in a new area, as we've done, you usually create a registry so that you can go to a place that tells you where to find all that grant data. And we've just soft launched that registry now on the 360 Giving website. So if you go to 360giving.com and poke around in there, you will find our registry. And we're starting to release tools to help people publish to that registry.
And any of the grant makers that you have now involved in culture or heritage in any way?
Well, we've got the Heritage Lottery Fund gave us all their grants. We had a great conversation with their grant officers, and they gave us the last 20 years of grants. So we have an extraordinary picture of grants made by Heritage Lottery Fund. We were able to take off their website the Arts Council for England's some of their grant schemes, and we've also put that in a database. And so you can start to get. We're at the beginnings of being able to search that now and make sense of that data. But it gives a fascinating window on what people have done, and also, of course, the Big Lottery Fund, who make grants to a very, very wide range of causes, particularly their Awards for All scheme of grants under £10,000. We have their data going back for 10 years. And we're very pleased with this. And so it gives us the ability to treat grant making as a more empirical, or give grant making a more empirical and scientific underpinning than it's had hitherto.
Brilliant. Is there anything you've learned from doing all of this that you'd say the cultural sector should kind of get on board with?
Data is your friend. If you're a fundraising organisation, or you distribute grants, but the majority, of course, are fundraising organisations, then the more information you have about how the sector works, the easier you'll find it to raise money. Both if you're publishing data about yourself, then grant makers can understand more about what it is you do, and data published by grant makers themselves, so you can understand better where to focus grant requests.